Welcome to Brainstorm MTG. I'm ELD, and this is Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering, now from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. It's part of our Wednesday night Legacy series. This week we had 16 players. I actually joined in to both make sure nobody had the bye in round one, and also to have our biggest Wednesday night Legacy yet at 16 players. So super happy with the support from the community. It's been really awesome. Our grand opening was at the end of February, and we are already off to an awesome start. And this game is underway with Misty Rainforest from Brian and Polluted Delta cracking for a Tundra. And going to lead out here with Nomad and Core, Cephalid in hand, and looks like Force of Will as well. So this could be a quick game unless Brian has some type of removal. Abrupt Decay, Assassin's Trophy. He does have the proper mana for it. Let's see if he has anything to control the board here. And it is Manipulate Fate, so no, kind of setting up his own combo. Moving forward, Eternal Scourge and Mist Hollow Griffins going to exile. Gonna want his food chain later on if he's able to prevent the game from going in the direction that I'm hoping for here, which is a blue card off the top. For Cephalid Illusionist, force pitch Shardless Agent, force back, pitching Brainstorm, and combo assembled. So here you're going to see milling, targeting 3 at a time, each time having a chance to hit Narcomoeba, cards like Cabal Therapy, Dread Return, and of course the targets, or main target for Dread Return, which we will see shortly. So Cabal Therapy showing a fistful of cards, Baleful Strix, Shardless Agent, and Food Chain. Brian, a couple of turns away there, was going to need some mana. Probably was looking at Baleful Strix into a mana source on his turn. If he drew mana for turn, Shardless Agent. And basically 2 more turns before he was going to go infinite. But instead, we've got Narcomoebas into Dread Return, returning Angel of Glory's Rise, which returns all humans when that enters the battlefield. That gets Labman and Azami, allowing you to tap a wizard you control to draw a card with none in your library and winning the game on the spot. So combo executed here versus Food Chain in game 1. And it does seem like Food Chain may actually just be a little bit slower than Cephalid Breakfast. This could be a matchup where Breakfast is actually a bit of a favorite. That's not typically the case. Most of Cephalid Breakfast's points, I believe, come from people having no idea what it is. It is a bizarre combo deck with a lot of very strange choices. These choices, though, have been really honed. I did actually play a couple of different builds of Cephalid Breakfast, refined the mana base, found a way to get 4 Force of Wills in there, and yeah, I definitely put in some effort on this list. Was pretty determined to win a few tournaments with it, and did manage to do that. Ooh, that's a spicy one there from Brian with Golgari Charm. Just saw that in the sideboard. Brian taking a moment to read both of the combo pieces there. Of course, Shuko, one of the other combo pieces. And it looks like Mother of Runes being targeted for removal for some sideboard cards. I believe Spell Pierce would be a reasonable sideboard card in this matchup. Really could punish trying to resolve a 3-mana Food Chain during the main phase. He's going to need to do that at some point. Disenchant also an option. Difficult to know exactly what to cut, though. I do think Mother of Runes is a reasonable choice there. Though it does stop Abrupt Decay, so it's tough. There's only 2 of them, so it is a decision. Doesn't actually move you any closer to your combo. It just kind of protects your combo, but also doesn't slow your opponent's combo down. So I think as a general theory perspective, when you're playing against another combo deck or a deck that has real explosive potential, if you have the choice of something that just protects you or potentially defends your combo and stops theirs, I think the choice is pretty clear there. So I'll stick by Spell Pierce probably being better than Mother of Runes for that reason. It can prevent Oh, but it can't prevent bad choices. It looks like no lander kept, discarding Dread Return. The hand does have everything it needs, though, except for lands with Aether Vial and both combo pieces, along with a Disenchant. So let's see what happens here. A little bit of redundancy, too, in Shuko. So just a single land will probably make this a competitive game. And there it is off the top. What a savage. No lander, rips a land on the second turn. And Dread Return already in the bin, so the card discarded a key combo piece that actually belongs in the graveyard. So really not a bad situation here. And Baleful Strix for Food Chain. That guy's usually great on crowd control and dealing with opposing creatures, but not so much against this deck. And Relic of Progenitus is a horrible draw for me. Getting rid of Dread Returns. Gonna need to either hardcast Labman, like actually get him in hand and hardcast him. And it looks like Batterskull was boarded out. So the beatdown plan, not really gonna look too good without a Batterskull. Gonna be a lot harder. Mother of Runes coming out makes sense. Batterskull, it's a tough call. I feel like the thought process was there's no way you're going to be able to race against Food Chain with a Batterskull. Particularly, even if they get Food Chain down, they can block and exile the Mist Griffins, stopping you from ever gaining life. Baleful Strix comes across the red zone, ticking down, and there is Nomad and Core. Another land. And that Shuko apparently would have been welcome just for the extra beats. And not doing anything with the mana there. Like keeping Disenchant up. Gotta disagree there. I feel like my line was definitely weak. I didn't end up using Disenchant. And there is another Narcomoeba. So assembling a little bit of a squad here. Assassin's Trophy. Top card of Brian's hand. And he is going to fire it off. Targeting Aether Vial. And it's really done its work at this point. Stoneforge coming in. And I think that's it. Yeah, there's no equipment. It's been boarded out. Shuko's already in hand. But 4 power on board, a little bit of a clock. And not really going to be too upset about any of these pieces dying with the Baleful Strix. It is a fine trade. And everything coming across. Probably be very happy for him to sacrifice Baleful Strix. It would slow down the Food Chain combo if it ever comes to that. Cephalid Illusionist coming in. And it's really just a 2, maybe 3 turn clock, given the damage on board. And there's the Food Chain. So Disenchant in hand. And it's a decision here. Do you hit the Baleful Strix? Do you hit the Food Chain? I mean, Food Chain seems like the clear choice. There is the option of trying to combo out a little bit, hit another Narcomoeba, get some Cabal therapies going, and Disenchant is going to take out the Baleful Strix, ensuring that a turn gets passed back. Going to have to see what this Cabal therapy action ends up looking like. 5 damage comes in. And it's time to start milling. Try and hit some therapies. Oh, there's one right off the bat. And Surgical, Eternal Scourge, Emrakul, and Tidespout Tyrant. So a complete whiff there. And if Brian uses that surgical, and he is now, so Brian going to use the surgical. Not sure what he hit. I think it was a singleton as a one of. There's a nomad in core. That's going to be one more therapy. Getting rid of the Eternal Scourge, but it actually just comes right back. So exactly the type of error that we've seen against Cephalid Breakfast I made there. Relic of Progenitus can exile cards from your own graveyard. So of course, that makes the whole combo come together. Brian does have the ability to kickstart with Eternal Scourge and then get into Mist Hollow Griffin, ramp right up, get Emrakul, extra turn, Tidespout Tyrant, bounce all of my permanents, total victory there in game 2 in a very close game. So Brian forcing game 3. And that was an error. What could have been done there? With more Cabal therapies in the list, could have potentially got rid of both Tidespout Tyrant and the Emrakul, but that was not present. And Relic was untapped during the end step, so even getting Eternal Scourge and Emrakul in the same turn, that would have been awesome. To be able to shuffle away the Eternal Scourge, but he would have been able to break that play up just by tapping his Relic of Progenitus. And starting out here, Nomad and Core off of Tundra. Will this be another fast combo for Cephalid Breakfast? It's actually been a few days since this game was played, so I don't remember exactly what happened. Makes it exciting for me to ponder into Stoneforge and No Sir. Looks like digging for a land. And Brainstorm running land light. Cephalid Breakfast does go low to the ground like that. But this might be a little lower than is preferable. Are going to want a second land. Be able to hard cast Cephalid Illusionist. Brian building a little bit of a mana base here. Underground Sea, Polluted Delta. Food Chain. Really not going to have too much of a problem casting any of its spells with that mana base. Deathrite Shaman, a little bit of a loss for that deck, but I feel like feels like a long time ago at this point. Deathrite Shaman did a lot while it was in the format, but the format's in a tremendous place right now. A couple of lands here, so no more mana problems on the Cephalid Breakfast side of things. No shuffle. But it looks like Cephalid and Force assembled. So good situation here. Could see a combo on this turn. Is Brian going to have any type of responses? I say no mana issues, but actually no black for the Cabal Therapy, which would probably be preferable. Be able to run out a therapy here. At the very least, getting it into the graveyard for flashback. And, of course, getting a peek at the hand. And it looks like it's just go time. Force of Will, pitching Baleful Strix. Force of Will, pitching Brainstorm. And combo assembled. And there it is, Cabal Therapy, one of the cards, Angel of Glory's Rise already, Azami, Narcomoeba. And what does Brian have here for responses? Golgari Charm. And there it is, we saw it game 2 as he was boarding it in. Spell Pierce. Defending the position. Spell Pierce possibly better than Flusterstorm as a sideboard card in this matchup, also because it hits that early food chain. And it looks like Surgical just grabbing Azami. Getting that out of the way before the therapies start coming in. Probably would have been better to surgical the Narcomoeba. That would have at least delayed a turn and forced me to cast another creature. There's a lot of uncertainty in terms of how this game might play out. We are not going to know until all the cards are revealed. Food Chain and Fierce Empath. No interaction on Brian's side. He's 2 turns away from a win. There's the Dread Return. Continuing to mill. Looking for that Narcomoeba. There's the Lab Man. So even though Angel of Glory's Rise and a zombie have been removed, I'm sorry, just a zombie. So we can actually Dread Return Lab Man, or Angel of Glory's Rise probably would have been better. It would have gotten Lab Man and some other humans. Let's see what happens here. Another option could have been to lay up and not go all the way to the bottom card of the library and use Angel of Glory's Rise as an actual beat stick. But did Brian draw the removal spell Abrupt Decay? No. Emrakul off the top, and that does not do it. That's an interesting slot too. He's been back and forth in between Walking Ballista and Emrakul in that slot. Shardless Agent pushing him towards, of course, Emrakul, as you don't want to cascade into a Walking Ballista. And that is another data point in a really difficult question for Food Chain on which kill conditions to use. Thanks for watching.